Welcome back to the deep dive. Usually, yeah, we're digging through academic papers, maybe reports, dense historical stuff. We love boiling complexity down.
Mm-hmm.
But today, we're pointing our spotlight somewhere totally different. Pure art, actually.
Right.
We're taking the lyrics from Alison McLean's song, Set Ourselves Free,
Mm-hmm.
which are really philosophical, and treating them not just as, poetry, but as a kind of blueprint for self-development.
Yeah, like a source code for getting unstuck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our mission, pretty simple. Pull out the core insights, the actionable bits, the frameworks hidden in this song, all about achieving freedom, getting past our own self-imposed limits.
Particularly, yeah.
We're kind of looking for a shortcut to actionable philosophy,
Yeah.
but delivered through a song structure.
And it's a great way to do it because, like you said, these lyrics, they offer this holistic view, almost a four-part framework for self-liberation.
4 parts.
Yeah, it's not just one thing. It talks about action, managing emotions, mental flexibility, and finally, how we see ourselves. So we're really just digging into the principles needed to, well, stop getting in our own way, based only on what McLean gives us in the song. Okay, let's unpack it.
I like that. Stop getting in our own way.
Yeah.
So let's start with the foundation, the chorus, right?
Mm-hmm.
The song says right off the bat, freedom isn't passive. It needs energy. It says we contribute to the field and it keeps the fire burning. What's that telling us about the fuel needed?
This is, I think, the first big piece, often overlooked. Freedom needs momentum.
Okay.
The lyrics suggest that it's sustained action, that contribution, to whatever field you're in, your work, your community, your goals. That's what keeps the passion going, keeps the energy up for the whole journey.
Ah, okay.
Think of it like maybe Maslow's idea of self-actualization. It's not a place you just arrive at and sit down.
Right.
It's a constant process of becoming. So if you stop contributing, well, the fire just dies down.
So it's not just busy work. It's contributing to something that feels meaningful, that keeps the engine running hot enough to even think about freedom.
Exactly. Purposeful action.
But then the chorus hits you with this condition, right? This requirement about looking.
Yeah, it's the crucial caveat. If we're not willing to look, we won't see and set ourselves free.
That's pretty direct.
It really is. And it raises a huge point. Seeing isn't the first step. The ability to see the path to freedom depends on willingness.
Willingness to look.
Yeah, we're talking about the active choice, maybe even a painful choice, to really investigate what's holding us back right now.
And what are we usually avoiding looking at? I mean, it's often the uncomfortable stuff, isn't it?
Totally.
Our own part in things, our bad habits, maybe emotional baggage we've just dragged along for years.
Exactly right. You can't fix a constraint you refuse to admit exists, or one you're frankly too scared to look at directly.
Yeah.
So the lyrics set up this challenge. Freedom isn't some sudden flash of insight. It's the deliberate, conscious choice to start digging internally.
Right.
And that allows sight, which then allows freedom. Willingness comes first. It's like the gatekeeper.
Got it. So action is the fuel. Willingness is the key. Wait, let's talk about the traps the lyrics mention, the things that keep us locked up. The first one is brilliant. It targets our emotions.
Yeah, this part's fascinating. It warns about treating temporary states as permanent. Emotions, feeling, they're like weather, right? They pass.
Mm-hmm.
But McLean warns, don't pitch a tent and make them a permanent residence.
Oh, that image. So relatable. I know I've done that. You have one awkward conversation and suddenly you've built this whole mental narrative around it like it defines everything.
Right. We confuse a fleeting feeling with who we are.
Yeah. 30 minutes of bad data becomes a lifelong identity.
And that's exactly the danger zone. If you pitch that tent, you're saying, this temporary thing, this is permanent now.
And the consequence.
The lyrics are stark. Fixing on that temporary feeling, shame, anger, sadness, whatever, it results in a lifelong sentence.
Okay, hold on though. Let me push back a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Isn't there a risk here of, what people call spiritual bypassing, like just ignoring real pain or trauma?
That's a really important question.
Where's the line between letting emotions flow
Yeah.
and just denying stuff that's genuinely deep?
Great point. I don't think the lyrics are saying avoid the feelings. They're advising against building your identity around them.
Oh, okay. The residence idea again?
Exactly. Feel the pain, experience the frustration, absolutely. But don't furnish your permanent home there. Don't make it your address.
Right.
The sentence isn't imposed from outside. It's something we do to ourselves when we make a temporary feeling our core identity. Real freedom needs emotional flow, experiencing the full range without getting stuck anywhere for good.
Okay, that makes sense. Letting it move through you, not move into you permanently.
Yeah.
So if emotional permanence is trap 1,
Yeah.
Tent. The next one is cognitive, like getting mentally stuck.
Yeah, the bridge of the song, it repeats this line, which is maybe the most direct philosophical statement in the whole thing. When we only think one way, we cannot think another.
Oof, yeah. That's quite a statement.
It's a devastatingly simple summary of cognitive rigidity, isn't it?
It really is.
If your worldview or how you solve problems or even just your story about yourself is stuck on one track, then other tracks, other possibilities, they literally become unthinkable.
So it's not just that you choose not to see another way.
No, it's deeper. Your single track thinking creates this like neurological rut. It's so deep, the other options just vanish from your map.
It's like mental blinders. We all know people like that, right? Locked into one political view, one way of seeing history, one way of doing their job. They're not just arguing anymore. It feels like they've genuinely lost the ability to even process contradictory info constructively.
Precisely. And that lack of cognitive flexibility is a direct barrier to freedom, because freedom always involves imagining and then creating a different future.
Right. Can't get somewhere new if you can only think about the old road.
Exactly. If you can only think in terms of your past limits or current problems, you've basically put your future in a mental prison. Freedom depends on being able to even conceive of other ways to be, other realities.
Okay, so we have the internal traps, getting stuck emotionally, getting stuck mentally.
Yeah.
Verse 2 then shifts focus, right?
Yeah.
Something more external.
Yeah.
Domain limitation.
Exactly. It moves from the purely internal to our experience in the world. If we just stayed theoretical, we'd still be limited.
Makes sense.
The lyrics talk about how playing in one domain limits our interpretations of the game. This is where, the rubber meets the road.
Okay.
Real understanding, and therefore real freedom to operate effectively, requires broader exposure, more data points.
This totally makes me think of the silo effect you see in big companies.
Yeah, how so?
Well, if you only ever work in, say, sales, your view of the whole company game is going to be super narrow compared to someone who's spent time in manufacturing, logistics, R&D.
That's a perfect analogy, and it's critical for self-liberation because the game of life needs diverse skills and perspectives.
So the domain could be anything. Social circles.
Sure. Only talking to people who agree with you. An echo chamber.
Or intellectually.
Only reading things that confirm what you already think.
Or professionally, like you said. Sticking to one field.
Right. By limiting the domain, you limit the information you have to interpret the whole situation. Your map gets smaller and smaller.
And the lyrics give a really clear action item here. We can't play there if we don't go there.
Boom. It stresses that you need active physical experience. You have to actually step outside your familiar zone, your one domain.
Just to see things differently.
To broaden your interpretations, yeah. And that unlocks new ways to act, new paths to freedom, gives you more tools.
So what's the actionable takeaway? What do you do?
Be a cognitive tourist, maybe.
I like that.
If you realize your interpretation feels limited, you have to consciously, actively go somewhere new. Go to the meeting of the group you disagree with, read the book that challenges you, take the class that feels totally unrelated.
You don't have to move there permanently.
Not at all. But you need the experience to update your mental software, your interpretation. You have to risk feeling uncomfortable or out of place to get the tools you need for more freedom.
Okay, this is where things get really interesting for me. Because the song shifts again in verse 3. It turns the lens inward again, but deeper, to the ultimate source of constraint.
Yeah, this feels like the climax of the whole lyrical argument. We spend so much time blaming external things, right? The economy, the government, our boss.
Sure, always easier.
But McLean states it point blank. The biggest bully we will ever face is the conversation in our head.
Wow. That internal monologue, that critic that just runs constantly for so many of us, that's the main enemy.
That's what the lyrics propose. Most people recognize that voice, sure, but the lyrics do something more. They don't just identify the bully.
What else?
They diagnose the fundamental error in what the bully is saying.
How so?
The critical line that follows is that this powerful, limiting inner talk, the script, telling us what we can and can't do, what we're worthy of, is all misread.
Misread. Let's pause on that word. Misread. That suggests like a mistake in understanding of the original text. A comprehension error.
Exactly. It's not just that the inner conversation is mean or harsh. It's that the entire script itself, the narrative we believe defines us, is based on a fundamental misinterpretation.
So the source of our deepest limitation is a mistake, a faulty reading of ourselves or our situation.
That's the implication. And if you connect that back to the lifelong sentence from verse 1, you realize the conviction might have been based on totally faulty evidence. The judge inside the bully was reading from a script that was fundamentally misread from the start.
Okay, wow.
Recognizing that foundational error, that it's a misreading, that's potentially the most powerful way to disarm the bully. Freedom could start right there. The moment we realize the script we've been following is based on an interpretation error.
But how hard is that?
Yeah.
To actually recognize it's misread in the moment. We live inside that voice.
Oh, it's incredibly difficult.
When the bully says, you're not good enough, it feels like gospel truth.
It does. And that's why that earlier point about willingness is so vital. Section 1, remember?
Willingness to look.
Yeah. Recognizing the misread requires stopping that conversation, stepping back, and actually applying some critical thinking to the internal dialogue itself.
Like fact-checking your own thoughts?
Kind of. It's asking, hang on, is this thought actually useful? Is this interpretation based on real current facts? Or is it just an echo of some old misread script from way back when? The actionable bit here is radical self-skepticism, especially about your own negative inner narrative. Question the bully's script.
Okay, so let's try to pull all these pieces together. We started with needing action, needing willingness. Then we hit the traps. Emotional tense, mental ruts, staying in one domain, and we end up face-to-face with this internal bully whose script is just wrong, misread.
Right. So the path to freedom, as laid out in these lyrics, it seems pretty clear, systematic, and frankly, quite demanding.
Yes, not easy.
True self-liberation, according to this framework, needs 4 things working together. First, active contribution keeps the fire burning.
Okay.
Second, emotional fluidity avoids those life sentences based on temporary feelings.
Right, no tense.
Third, a wider cognitive scope gained by getting out there, experiencing more, so you can see more than just one way.
Stepping out of the domain.
And finally, maybe most crucially, recognizing that our biggest limiter, that internal bully, is operating from a fundamentally flawed script. It's all misread.
So you have to be willing to look inward, see the error, then start rewriting.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
Start changing the script based on a more accurate reading.
That's a really powerful synthesis. It takes this big idea, freedom, and grounds it in actual self-discipline and changing your perspective. And, I keep coming back to that line from the bridge.
The one-way line.
Yeah. When we only think one way, we cannot think another.
Right.
If you connect that core problem, being stuck, unable to find another way, with this final idea that the internal voice is all misread, then maybe the very first step towards finding that another way, that freedom, is just the deep realization that the one way we've been stuck in, it was based entirely on a script we fundamentally misread about ourselves all along. If the premise, the script, was faulty from the start, then the conclusion, the limitation, has to be questionable too. It opens the door. We'll leave you with that thought for your own deep dive. Thanks for listening.